I've had some musings this week, beginning with the meaning behind two different creation stories in Genesis, followed by a discussion of Adam, whose name almost literally translates to mud man, and then a meditation on cremation and the beauty and intimacy of scattering someone's ashes. This leads me to the question, just what does happen to us when we die? Hello. I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Thursday, November 9th, 2023. Death is a mystery. Try as we might, we just cannot see beyond this life into the next. Even the writers of Scripture come up short. What we get in the Bible is no single consistent account of what happens to us after death. The most we get are hints and vague images. Anyone hoping to find a systematic description will either come away frustrated or else will try to cobble together several disparate accounts into something that makes sense to them. Rather than trying to peek behind the curtain, though, perhaps it is better to live with a sense of mystery. I don't really want to go into a dry recitation of the different passages scattered throughout the Bible that touch on what life is like in the next life. The best that would give us would be a sense of how disjointed these accounts are, without giving us a very satisfying answer to the question. The church over the centuries has settled on a best guess answer, which is, when we die, our souls immediately return to God. In the words of the Westminster Confession, the bodies of men after death return to dust and see corruption, but their souls, which neither die nor sleep, having an immortal subsistence, immediately return to God who gave them. The church also believes that at some point in the future there will be a general resurrection of the dead before a final judgment. After that final judgment, we will live eternally in our resurrected bodies. But that still doesn't give us a peek behind the proverbial curtain. Even the Apostle Paul had a hard time with it, but he actually wrote a rather beautiful passage that tells us more than the sum of his words do. In 1 Corinthians 15, the longest treatment of the resurrection in the Bible, Paul says, "But someone will ask, how are the dead raised? With what kind of body do they come? Fool, what you sow does not come to life unless it dies. And as for what you sow, you do not sow the body that is to be, but a bare seed, perhaps of wheat or of some other grain. But God gives it a body as he has chosen, and to each kind of seed its own body." What he's really saying here is that we literally cannot picture what happens to us after death. At the resurrection, we'll have a body, but somehow it's not like the body we have now. At this point, we're operating beyond the margins of human experience and beyond the capabilities of human intellect. When we reach this point, ordinary language simply isn't enough. We have to do away with descriptive prose and enter the realm of poetry, which deals in imagery and imagination. That's what Paul has tried to do here. If we try to utilize the ordinary language of scientific reasoning, we fall short and we are inevitably disappointed. Let me use another analogy. We know and can picture three spatial dimensions. The first dimension, of course, is simply a single point, a dot. The second dimension is a line, or simply a flat picture. The third dimension is represented by a cube. We can even represent what a cube looks like in two-dimensional drawings, but what about a fourth dimension? Modern mathematics can describe space in the fourth dimension, but we cannot easily picture it. Maybe this isn't the best of all possible analogies, but it strikes me that when we talk about what life is like after death, it is like trying to describe the fourth dimension. Language and pictures just can't quite get us there. So what do these ramblings mean? Simply this: there is another life before us, which is not possible to describe because we simply haven't seen it, but we know it's there. From time to time, I hear people who are close to death talk about seeing into the next life. Some people think these are hallucinations, and maybe they are, but I've heard enough to know that there's something there, even if those close to death cannot fully describe it. Mostly what I hear are words like beautiful, peaceful. Can someone stand with a foot on either side of the threshold between this life and the next? I don't know. I haven't been there, but I've heard enough to know there's something. Beyond that, it is wise not to try to say too much. It is enough to know that whatever it is that awaits, it is life more fully than the life we know now. And that's enough for me. Now may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.